Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to one of the biggest weeks in college football history, in my complete opinion. This week of college football is actually such a massive determiner in how things play out in the rest of the season. I mean, just by the title of this video, you see already so many important matchups. I mean, this one not as important, but definitely a spotlight right now. But like these two are super, super important. But without saying too much, let's get straight into it. So we open up the video. I mean, already with a very good game. I believe a lot of people think this is a good one. A lot of people are interested to see how Cincinnati do. I actually had Cincinnati winning this game, I think, in my predictions way at the start. But honestly, this Oklahoma team looks just so dominant right now. I'm surprised they're only ranked at number 16 right now. Like, this team looks so much better than Bama, so much better than LSU, so much better than a lot of teams ahead of them. And honestly, I think Oklahoma might go in there and kill them. Cincinnati might put up some points. They might keep it close for like the first half, but Oklahoma will pull away and absolutely annihilate. The line is 14.5 in Oklahoma favor, and I completely agree. I mean, Cincinnati just lost to who? Miami, Ohio, or something. I believe it's a rivalry, but still, they're not a good team. They barely beat Pittsburgh on the road, yes, and it looks like a pretty good win, but then Pittsburgh gets their ass kicked by West Virginia, who's not good. So, Cincinnati to me doesn't look like that strong of a team anymore. The Pittsburgh win originally looked actually really good, and now it just doesn't. And then the loss to Miami, Ohio is just like a icing on the cake. I think Oklahoma handles this one. Then we got Miami at Temple. Temple's not a good team. Miami should absolutely slaughter this game. The line is 23.5 for Miami. Temple's 2-1 with a 3-point victory against Akron, and then a absolute slaughter fest against Rutgers. I mean, the Rutgers just killed them. And I mean, that should be enough said. If Rutgers are able to slaughter Temple, then Miami's able to slaughter Temple. Temple's only win is against Norfolk State. So, yeah. I mean, and they killed them, but that's a nobody. Miami's schedule. Miami kicked the shit out of Texas A&M. I mean, that is already anything so much better than anything on Temple's schedule. So Miami should handle business with ease. Arkansas at LSU. I have a feeling with the BYU loss that Arkansas took and LSU killing Mississippi State, a lot of people are going to say LSU wins this game. And honestly, a lot of people are just going to say LSU wins this game without any knowledge at all. But this rivalry always seems to bring a good matchup to the table. Sorry for the mic noise. I mean, last year, LSU was what, like a number 8 or something, number 10, and this game was a 3-point game. I know it was at Arkansas and it's a lot different, but to be honest, I think this could be a closer one than a lot of people are expecting it to be. LSU's favored by 17.5. I think Arkansas might actually do some damage, might actually keep it close, but LSU will ultimately walk away because, I mean, this is always a good matchup. It always is, and ultimately, I think Arkansas has a pretty good offense. I'm not too sure about their defense, but I think they'll be able to put up some more points than a lot of people are thinking, and it might be a much closer game. USC. Oh God, USC at Arizona State. I've actually seen a couple people saying this game will be closer than a lot of people think and whatnot. Just know, if anything, ASU has their defense going for them, but our offense is so horrific. Our backup to Jaden Rashada, Trenton Bourget or whatever, is injured. Jaden Rashada is injured, so we're on Drew Pine, who, if you're a Notre Dame fan or watched Notre Dame last year, you know he's horse shit. And then we've got another guy who hasn't really, I don't think he's gotten much chance to prove himself. I think he was redshirting, so I think we might absolutely get slaughtered. I was going to go to this game, honestly. I was going to go to this game, once like all the games were over because I wanted to see ASU play USC for the last time, but I don't think I can watch it. I don't think I can. It was already hard enough watching the Fresno State game, truly. Oh man, it was just so painful, so terrible, and I think this one might be worse. And I'm being nice with the 3 points. I'm just saying we don't get shut out. We might get shut out. Honestly, it's just because our offense is so horrific and terrible, and our defense can only carry us so much. I mean, guys, we had 8 turnovers in the Fresno State game. If our defense can hold USC as much as they want, but who's to say our offense doesn't give them 10 or something? Like, our offense is so horrendous. I'm so happy we beat Southern Utah because that might be our only win of the season. This could be so bad, but I think USC will absolutely annihilate us. Honestly, I think they will just absolutely slaughter us. This was actually, like, I was so hyped up for this game because last season, ASU actually played USC pretty well into, like, the final minutes. Final score was, like, 25-42, but it was, like, way closer than that the whole game. It was actually looking pretty good. And if ASU could have maintained that team at all into this season, I was like, dude, at ASU, like, we might be able to win. Nah, not anymore. It's out the window. It's gone. Rutgers at Michigan. This is another game that I'm like, a lot of people might not be looking at this. To be honest, Rutgers don't look that bad right now. The Rutgers actually look pretty decent. They're 3-0. They beat the shit out of Northwestern. They probably could have beat them up more. They beat the shit out of Temple, and then they beat the shit out of Virginia Tech. I know those are all relatively bad schools, but they're putting points up. They're not winning by like 7 points or 3 points. They're winning by 2. They're winning by like 3 possessions, like 3 or 4 possessions. I mean, I think, and with Michigan being 24-point favorite and only being able to score 30 points on like random schools, I think Rutgers could make this one a little bit scarier than it needs to be. I'm going to keep Michigan right in that 30-point territory, but Rutgers might make it scary. I think they made it scary last year too, or that might have been Maryland or something. But yeah, I think Rutgers might stun some people. FSU at Clemson. Man, this one's looking so scary right now. I don't want Florida State to lose this game. I can't stand Clemson. They just need to like exit this year so they don't mess anything up. I can't deal with this garbage Clemson team posing any sort of threat. I think Florida State will win it by a little just because Clemson still looks like horseshit, but Florida State struggled greatly against Boston College. And if they play anything like that, especially on the road at a Clemson game, which even though Clemson's unranked and a one-loss team, you best know this place about to be sold out. You best know. It is about to be a full-ass stadium. And Florida State, if they haven't recovered from their play style last week, they might lose. But honestly, just Clemson likes to struggle to stop making mistakes. That will lead to Florida State's victory in this, unless Florida State clicks what they played against LSU as. If they played like they play against LSU, they win this game 66-0. I'm kidding. They win this game by a lot, though. If they click, then they do it. But if I don't know if they will, because they just looked like shit against Boston College. And if they haven't fixed that, then I don't know. This game could be a lot closer. I mean, not necessarily than what people are giving them credit for, because the line is Florida State 2.5. So I'm kind of following the line right now. I think Florida State will still be able to win it, but Clemson could very well upset and win this game. And then, oh my God, they'll be like number fucking 8 or something. Oh, it's going to be so annoying. I don't want this Clemson team to be good because we know how shit they are, but they do pose a threat, and I feel like Florida State could fuck up in this game. Colorado at Oregon. I have this game listed as the game of the week just because I know there's plenty of other games that are so much more important. But let's be real. All eyes are on Mr. Prime. All eyes are on Dion and the Buffaloes. And this is their first test. We thought their first test was going to be at TCU, but we know that was false. This is their first test. And I think they'll get absolutely slaughtered. I think Travis Hunter is still in the hospital right now. Not sure what's going on there. I know he got injured pretty shitty by just a clear bullshit, full intention of injuring him by a Colorado State player. I don't know. I don't know how the Colorado State player didn't get ejected from the game after that. It's just so pathetic. But nonetheless, Colorado barely beat Colorado State without Travis Hunter. So I don't know if they're going to get him back. I think Oregon might drop a bomb on them. I have full faith in Colorado to move the ball and put some points down, but I think Oregon's way better than them. And Colorado, even ESPN knows they dropping them spots. They were like number 16 or something like that. They've been dropping. Even if they were number 18, they've still been dropping. The committee knows. Everybody knows. Colorado's probably going to lose this game. Hey, but it was fun while it lasted. They produced some really good games for us. So UCLA at Utah. To be honest, I looked it up when I was making my prediction. I said, is Cam Rising back? And I got this little article that basically in a conference or something like that, the coach for Utah said, we don't know who'll be back, and even if we do, we're not going to say anything. I guess you'll know on game day, which to me feels like it is up in the air whether Cam Rising comes back or not. It is up in the air. So my prediction was UCLA wins this game without Cam Rising because Utah doesn't have offense. But now it looks like Cam Rising is up in the air potentially, which means, you know what, Utah could play their backups. But if things get dirty, Cam Rising could step in, or Cam Rising could just step in at the start and stun the people. But still, I'm going to give it in UCLA's favor just because of the fact we don't know whether he'll even be in. The coach could just be saying that to be like, oh, well, maybe, and then just, give his fans some hope or something. I don't know. He could just be saying that. Like, again, he never gave us a full answer. So even just what I'm saying of him just saying that is really nothing at all. He didn't say anything at all other than we don't know. We don't know, and you won't know until game day. So it's still a complete uncertain question right now. But judging off of the fact that that Cam Rising is probably not, I'd say they're leaning on the not playing. UCLA can win this game just because Utah doesn't have any offense. This score is built just off of the fact that there's a possibility for Cam Rising to play. Because right now, Utah has no offense. UCLA does. Ole Miss at Alabama. This is huge. This game is so much bigger than people realize. I mean, this is the first matchup of the two of the strongest teams in the SEC. I've just got a burp right now, guys. I've just got a burp for some reason. I mean, you got LSU in the SEC West. You got LSU, Ole Miss, and Alabama, and that's it. I mean, Auburn's 3-0, but hey, whatever. Mississippi State got absolutely killed by LSU. Texas A&M got beat up by Miami. And then in the SEC East, you got Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. Those are 3 ranked teams. And then, of course, Missouri, who got skunked of their ranking spot by Florida. So, I mean, very well, if Ole Miss wins this game, it all comes down to the LSU Ole Miss game. Because if Ole Miss wins that, they've secured it. They've got it. They're in the SEC championship. Because I don't see any other team in the SEC West that poses a threat. I don't really see anybody else on Ole Miss's schedule that poses a threat. Ole Miss is on the road at Bama, but they get to host LSU this year. I say, they played Georgia. Sorry, Jesus, I just went like whatever. But they played Georgia. They play at Georgia. That could be a really tough one for Ole Miss. But the thing is Ole Miss is not South Carolina. Ole Miss is much better than South Carolina, and Georgia struggled against South Carolina greatly. To be honest, I don't think Georgia finishes number 1 team in the nation this year. I think they might finish like number 12 or something. 2 loss, maybe 3 loss. That is honestly, I'm saying it now. They don't look good. They don't look good in any shape or form other than defense. Their offense is pathetic. It's clear. It's pathetic. Utterly pathetic. Teams will definitely struggle against Georgia, but they're not number 1 worthy. I don't even think they're college football playoff worthy. They're not even close. Georgia is only number 1 right now because they've won it 2 years in a row, but that time's gone. Stetson Bennett's gone. They've got this Carson Beck guy who can hardly do shit. I think Ole Miss upsets Alabama on the road, though. I think they do it because, honestly, Ole Miss looks like the best team in the SEC right now in general, and Alabama couldn't. Alabama, yes, they did better against Texas, but here's my thought process, all right? Texas has been ranked from offseason super highly. Also, potentially to make the Alabama-Texas game much more viewers and more money and whatnot. Could potentially be that. But I think Texas, with the high ranking in the offseason, as well as Alabama and the super high ranking in the offseason, to be honest, I think they just got placed too high. I mean, Texas is a good team. Don't get me wrong. Definitely a top 10 team. But number 3? I don't think Texas is number 3. I don't even think they're number 4. They struggled against Wyoming. They struggled. I mean, that game, that was a fight to the end. That was sealed basically off of a pick 6. Otherwise, the final score could have been 24-10. I mean, they struggled. They have a really, really good defense, but their offense is a big fat question mark. I know Quinn Ewers is good, and he can do some damage, but honestly, if I'm seeing the final score of 31-10 with a pick 6 padding the score to make it higher, I mean, the final score should have really been 24-10. Texas against Wyoming? I mean, Texas doesn't look that good. I know teams have their bad games and whatnot, but then that correlates over to Alabama, who lost to them at Alabama. I mean, to be honest, Alabama, they might not even finish ranked. I know I'm speculating a lot of conspiracy, but they might not even finish off ranked, guys. Alabama's got a tough-ass schedule. Let's be real here. They've got to obviously play this game. They lost to Texas, a game they really needed to win. They have to play at A&M this year. That's always a tough game. They hardly win there. They have to play Tennessee. They have to play LSU. They have to play at Auburn. They might not win. They might go 4 losses team. There's very well room for them to go 4 losses team. And to be honest, Ole Miss is the only team that looks solid. And even then, they struggled to put away a Tulane team without their starting quarterback. I mean, and the thing about Ole Miss, though, that is really special is they've got Jackson Dart or whatever, and he's doing really good. But if he ever gets hurt, they've got Spencer Sanders right in the backfield. So Ole Miss is not in any scary room on offense. They've got multiple people on Ole Miss offense that can do some real damage. It's really just their defense. I think Ole Miss will be able to pull this off. I think it'll only be close because this is a major rivalry. That's it. I think that's it. But I think Ole Miss will do it. They've done it before. They'll do it again. Duke at UConn. UConn struggled again. I think they're 0-3 right now. They've struggled against way too many teams. And ultimately, they should have been winning certain games. They should have won a game, I feel like, and they lost it. They should have beat... I think they should have beat FIU. They were hosting FIU, who's not a good team at all. And, just UConn is not that good. Duke should absolutely kill them. To be honest, I think Duke is ranked a little low right now. I think they might actually be a lot better than people are giving them credit for. UTSA at Tennessee, I see people who are giving Tennessee like 42. I think they stick right in the 30-point with, of course, UTSA probably like being 14-30 and then scoring a touchdown late in the game at a 2-point conversion to make it close. But I think Tennessee wins this game, but still, I think Tennessee keeps it close. They've got to click. They've got to figure it out, man. They got embarrassed at the Swamp. I mean, truly, this Tennessee team shouldn't even be ranked, and to be quite frankly, neither should Florida. But I think they're just two teams that are not that good, that just fought each other, and Florida turned out to be the better team, as well as the home field. I think this game will be closer than people think it will be. Oregon State at Washington State. Hear me out. I've been fighting for Oregon State all year long. If they win this game and then winning and they get to host Utah, which should be an easy win for them, they go undefeated for a long time. But to be honest, something hit me while I was making this prediction. I was like, oh my fucking God, Washington State's going to win this game. I don't even know how to explain it, but literally when I was getting ready to put the Oregon State background and start writing my score, I was like, dude, Washington State's going to win this game. I couldn't even explain it. I think Washington State's going to win this game. I could be wrong, but I think Washington State might win this game. I don't know, man. I just feel like the Pac-12 cannibalism. And then when I was thinking about it, I was like, the Pac-12 cannibalism is real. You know, like Oregon State, Oregon, USC, and Washington, they can win all their games and be the best teams. But then you got teams like Washington State, UCLA, even Cal and U of A who are just like hello, like we're ready to upset you now. We're ready to beat you. And I think Washington State might hit Oregon State with an early loss, making Oregon State fall to like number 25 or number 22 or something like that. And then Oregon State becomes a scary ass team. Oregon State I think they get to host Washington later down in the season. Keep your eyes peeled for that game. I think Washington State gets the early upset on this team. I think they might do it. I don't know. It's just like it was like truly a gut feeling. It was like a punch in the stomach. It literally like made my body sink. I was like, oh my God, Washington State's going to win this game. I could be wrong, but that's my prediction. Charlotte at Florida. This should be a very easy game for Florida. To be honest, I was like looking at it and I don't like this Florida team. I don't think they're that good, but I looked at Charlotte's schedule. To be honest, they played Maryland tough, but that's only because they got a shitty pick six, and then they lost to Georgia State. They only beat South Carolina State 24-3. They're not a good team, and Florida even though I don't think Tennessee's that good, they still beat the shit out of Tennessee. This should be a very easy game for Florida. UAB at Georgia. Oh wow, look at this Pee-wee schedule. This is what pisses me off too. I think Georgia might pull some bullshit this year, where they'll be the number 1 team or something like that. They'll be like number 1 all year going into their last game. And let's say they lose to like fucking Georgia Tech, and then they lose the SEC championship, and then they go like 2 loss, and then they get whopped, absolutely waxed in their bowl games, something like that. Some sort of like Oregon Ducks, like 2021 Oregon team bullshit. I think they'll still win this game very easily. I don't think UAB is even that good. The line is 42. That's insane. I think Georgia does not cover. So, yeah, I think there's nothing to be said here other than I am not a fan of this Georgia team right now. Texas at Baylor. I looked it up. Baylor's starting quarterback is ruled out, at least from what I saw. So Texas should absolutely walk over this Baylor team. That's one of the reasons why Baylor is so bad, is because they don't have their starting quarterback. So they will drop. And I think this game is just too important to the rest of the year, honestly, because Notre Dame is an independent school, so every loss hurts. They don't get a championship game. If they go 2 loss, they're pretty much donezo. As well as Ohio State has Penn State, Michigan, and like they have Penn State, Michigan, and even teams like Maryland on there. Like that could be like potential sleeper teams that hurt. I think they also have to play at Purdue, which is always seems to be a tough game for Ohio State. I don't know if they do play at Purdue. Let's actually check really quick. Yeah, they play after this. They get to host Maryland, and then they play at Purdue. Yeah, right. They also have to play at Wisconsin, who I know Wisconsin kind of whatever. They also have to play at Rutgers. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm telling you, man, this might be the greatest year of college football ever. And I think this might be one of the greatest games in college football history with Notre Dame pulling away. Let's be real. I know Ohio State has a stellar defense and whatnot, but Sam Hartman and his offense, his running back, they are dogs. They are dogs. And honestly, Kyle McCord, they clicked in that Western Kentucky game. I think this could actually turn from a defensive game to an offensive game, and we could see like just a game for the ages is what I'm hoping for. Sadly, I don't get to watch it. It's on NBC. I don't get NBC. Sucks. Literally sucks. I'm so hyped for some of these games. I don't get to watch like Ole Miss versus Alabama. It's on CBS. I don't get that. This on NBC. I don't get that. Iowa, Penn State, CBS. I don't get that. So bullshit, dude. I don't get these games, and it hurts, man. It hurts. But this game might be a game for the ages. So if you're going, dude, I wish you the best. This could be a great game. And also, like I said, just a determiner, because it's so important when Notre Dame takes a loss, because they don't get a conference championship. So one loss already hurts them so much. If they obtain a loss, even if it's to Ohio State, they can't lose another. Otherwise, they're done. So that brings all the more incentive for Notre Dame to play their best football in this game, as well as Ohio State. They're in the same boat, sort of. Yes, they get a championship and whatnot, but if you obtain that loss, you get to play Penn State and, like I said, other teams that are really good, and you have to play at Michigan, which is never an easy game. Ohio State needs to win this game because I can see them being like a 2-loss team. So this win only helps their schedule more. And I mean, if in some world this game turns, it's like 2-loss teams in the playoff, which it very well could be this year, I think Ohio State needs to win this game, which just brings all the more incentive for these teams to just duke it out. I think they're just going to duke it out. Iowa at Penn State. Honestly, Penn State looks like shit against Illinois. Their quarterback looked like shit. It was just terrible. I figured out that they scored their touchdown. It was like a pitch, and then they threw it to the tight end or something like that. And Iowa doesn't have any offense either. This could actually be a horrible game. So I think Penn State's gonna win it. Because it's at Penn State. I clicked, show the score, like 10-23. I think it's all going to be like ground game with Iowa maybe punching on an early touchdown and getting a pick inside the red zone and kicking a field goal or something like that. And Penn State will just be struggling to move the ball. I don't know, man. Drew Aller is definitely questionable. He could also break out in this game and destroy Iowa. I could be completely wrong, but judging off the way he played at Illinois, that was terrible. That's my prediction for that. North Carolina at Pitt. Pitt does not look good right now, even though it's at Pitt and it's a tough game. I think North Carolina will destroy and impress some people. I think this is an underranked North Carolina team. I know they struggled against Appalachian State, but people got to realize that every Power 5 team is going to struggle against Appalachian State. It's just the rule of thumb. It's how it is. So I think North Carolina might impress Cal at Washington, and we finish off the day with an absolute hammering, an absolute annihilation. Michael Penix just shows more of a reason why he has the number one team in the nation. And that is my week 4 top 25 predictions. Let me know what you think in the comment section, please, because this is such an important week of football. Hot takes are literally acceptable in any shape or form. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps, and that's all for me. Adios.